Do you know what passage in the Bible mentions God's Father? Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion. And if you look in Deuteronomy 32:8 and 9 in the King James Version, it's talking about the Most High dividing up the children of Adam and setting the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. And this number, according to a couple different traditions in the Pentateuch, would have been 70. So there would have been about 70 nations on the earth. Now, if you look in the ancient Greek translation, the Septuagint, it says the Most High divided up the nations according to the number of the angels of God. And scholars have long known that the translators of the Septuagint liked to render into Greek angels of God when their Hebrew source text said sons of God, as we see, for instance, in Job 1 and 2. And so there's long been a hypothesis that this passage originally referred to the Most High dividing up the nations according to the B'nai Elohim, the children of God. And in the 1960s, there was a fragment discovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls that we now know as 4Q Deuteronomy J that preserves precisely that reading, all but confirming that hypothesis. So the text originally referred to the Most High dividing up the nations according to the number of the children of God, which also would have numbered 70, and we see that in some Ugaritic traditions. And then if we go into verse 9, it says, "And Adonai's allotment was his people, Jacob his share of the inheritance." So according to a straightforward reading, the Most High is distributing the nations to their own children as an inheritance, and Adonai is receiving Israel as their inheritance. And Israel is referred to as the inheritance of Adonai throughout the Hebrew Bible. And so the question is, does the text distinguish the Most High from Adonai? And many scholars would argue yes. Others would say no. There's this disjunctive particle key at the beginning of verse 9 that seems to throw things off and could be interpreted to mean that Adonai is keeping Israel for themselves. However, again, if we go back to the Septuagint translation, which preserves that earlier reading, it says kegenethi, which is not how the Septuagint translates the particle ki. It's how it translates the verb vayehi, which would just be the normal way of carrying on a narrative story. In other words, there would be no disjunction there. It would just be saying the Most High distributed the nations according to the number of the children of God, and Adonai's allotment was his people, Jacob his share of the inheritance. So many scholars today agree that this passage is preserving a snapshot of a very early period in Israel's history, probably soon after Adonai was incorporated into the pantheon, where they are still on the second tier of the pantheon. They are considered one of the B'nai Elohim, one of the children of God. And later Adonai would be conflated with Elyon and with the deity El, the patriarchal high deity, so that they would be considered one and the same. And this would influence the reinterpretation of Deuteronomy 32:8 and 9 as a reference to one and the same deity. But many scholars agree that Elyon here is represented as the father of Adonai, the God of Israel. And the fit for this video has been Metallica and Justice.